Are we live? Yes, we are. Hello and welcome everyone to another episode 3, I believe, of this yet to be titled podcast. Clearly, the suggestions that have been coming in are not good enough. So for now, we're just going to run with the untitled or just the football podcast, I think will go. Because for what it's worth, one of the suggestions that have come in, I think, is not too politically correct because one of our dear friends suggested the undressing room as the name of the podcast. And I don't think that absurd of a name is something that we are looking to go ahead with. Anyway, if you're new around here, my name is Abdullah. We usually speak about Arsenal and we've kind of diversified into generally speaking about football on this channel. We have this weekly podcast going on. If you want to be involved in it, please hit me up. I've put my Twitter and Instagram handle on the screen right now. So without any further ado, let's start today's episode. Today's episode, we'll be speaking about the Premier League action that has just passed us by. And we shall also kind of cover a few talking points from around the world of football, namely the fact that the Champions League and Europa League and other action is going on around the globe. And joining me today is a very special guest. In case if you guys think you're seeing double, then it's not. That's because we are joined by our fellow Dadarkar, I guess, brother from the same mother, Yusuf Dadarkar. Yusuf, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. Hope you had a good workout today.
Yeah. Just finished it about 15 minutes ago, in fact. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
So for our viewers, which I think is going to be none other than just our parents, kindly enlighten us as to how did you fall into this game? Which club do you support? And to whom do you pledge your allegiance? And how did this come about?
Well, how I fell in love with football, I think, goes back to the '94 World Cup when I'd gone with Papa to his friend's place, like Romario, Rivaldo. These guys were playing, and it was basically a bunch of what I thought were uncles back then, but I realize now that they were just about 5-8 years older than we are at this stage, right? And they were enjoying themselves, just supporting France versus Brazil, or Brazil versus I don't remember who Brazil was playing. I just distinctly remember the joy of supporting Brazil that a few of those guys had, and that's I think my first memory that I have with regards to how I fell in love with the game of football, and from that point on. I think the only club that I've ever supported has been United, and that came about. I think my origin story is the other side of the coin to yours, where we were watching the same games, playing the same versions of FIFA, and if a choice had to be made between the dominant side, which was United, versus the not exactly a side to be reckoned with, which was Arsenal, then by virtue of being the elder brother, I just took the dominant side. And I think Beckham and Scholes and Giggs and like these guys just made me fall in love with the club, and from there on, it's never been looking back after that.
Well, the consensus in the world of football right now is that people are actually enjoying United's lack of success, and it's attributed to the fact that United actually kind of ruined our childhood, the childhood of a lot of other football fans, because United had a good 20 odd years of dominance, especially in the domestic league. And seeing since 2013, effectively when Sir Alex left, in brief, if you had to put down this period, right, like this transition period, do you think United is still in that transition period? How long is it going to go? And who's the man actually to bring United out of this?
Yes, definitely, we're still in that transition period. As much as I hate to say this, we're far from out of troubled waters. It's been heartbreaking. I'll be honest. It's been it's been a time where I thought I was done with football because screw this. Who's gonna actually wait for the heartbreak to get over? And uh, you can't you can't really take a shortcut out of it. We thought we had Van Gaal coming in and doing something, but turned out to be nothing. We thought we had Mourinho coming in, and I think my personal apprehension was always that he's going to do what he eventually ended up doing, which
Hmm.
is that show us a glimmer of hope, but then tear us down to pieces and get us to a point where just a decent human being is someone that we're rooting for. Doesn't have to be a great manager
Right.
in Ole. And the fact that he's not berating his players, the fact that he's got team spirit back to normal standards, not even something that great managers do. But that is where we're at right now, and I think it's a while away. I'm not sure if Ole is the man or not to get us back to the top of the table. But I do believe that he's the guy who will help us get out of this at least a few more steps before uh, we might need to change, or maybe there is something lying deep inside that the world hasn't seen yet, and he's going to come through for us. Maybe like at least halfway through of what Fergie did. So
Right. Well, actually, that's a very tall ask with regards
yeah,
to emulating what Sir Alex has done with the club, and I think it would be unfair of any manager to even ask, a small percentage of that. But on that note, let's begin with the weekend's action that we've just had, and we'll just put up the results now. Can we? Yes, we can. Okay, here we are. Right. So just at a glance, going through it, how many of the games were you able to catch over the weekend?
Um, I was actually just I watched just the United game, and I followed the Barca and the Juventus score lines, and was switching uh, between the highlights and the reel. And Dortmund's game, because of Haaland, I think it's just one of those clubs that I'm excited for because of the player. So I've
Right,
watched the highlights, but that's about it for this weekend's Champions League action.
right. Super. So let's begin with Liverpool Leicester. Um, what do you make of the result actually overall? What were you expecting, and did the result surprise you?
I was expecting some more fight from Leicester, to be honest. I did catch this game a little bit. I think the second half, they weren't, I mean, the scoreline sort of, I feel like, does injustice to Leicester's efforts. They
Hmm.
weren't as bad as the 3-0 scoreline suggests. But at the same time, Liverpool had the flashes of champions that stamped all over the game, right? So they were coming in, and they had these moments where you could clearly see that they were head and shoulders above Leicester. But then Leicester had, for at least the second half, the part that I watched, uh, they were putting up a good fight. They, I think, will be competing for the top four right till the end. I don't think we can discount them just because they've lost to Liverpool.
Right. Interesting. I actually managed to catch the first half of the game, and I feel it was a complete champions performance from Liverpool because up till this game, I think the result of the weekend was Spurs' victory over City, and how just in that 24 to 24 odd hours, everyone was just hyping up Spurs and their chances, and then everyone was expecting Liverpool to actually kind of fall short somewhere with regards to the amount of injuries that they've had, and they had such a makeshift back four. Even in the middle of the park, they were playing Neto Williams, I believe, and then. But one of the nominations for the Player of the Season has to be Diego Jota, and everyone is just
For sure.
absolutely, taken aback as to how he has fit like a glove in this Liverpool side. And total kudos to Jurgen Klopp, man. Like he has actually drilled such a good um, nuanced football. He has made such a good nuanced footballing side that one player goes out, another one comes in, and it's almost as if no difference is made. And I think the lack of players like Van Dijk somewhat might have helped Liverpool, and they were ahead of the curve over there, wherein they were possibly inviting Leicester to kind of attack ever so slightly more. But
Right.
if you're going to attack Liverpool, then you got to be prepared for their counter as well. And their counter-attacking threat, I don't think there was any passage of play in the game, I would say, wherein Liverpool looked threatened, or at least the ones, how much of it I saw. And we still have, or rather, they still have quite a few players still left out. Do you think Liverpool's gonna, let it slip anytime soon?
Uh, I would love for them to. Don't get me wrong. Uh, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's. Yeah, they do have players like Jota coming in, who's 23, 24, and he's already laying claim to a first team berth and stuff. And I don't think it's as easy as saying that just because they have four first team injuries or three first team injuries that they're out of the running for the top spot. I think what might work against them is something that's actually that both Klopp and Ole have been ranting about for a while now, and maybe rightfully so, is that they're playing 2 and 3 games a week. So that might complicate things a little more when compared to, say, Leicester. But yeah, I think it's hard. I think it's hard for us to sit here and say that definitively Liverpool's going to slip up and let it go, because I don't see a solid contender for that top spot.
Barring Liverpool themselves, actually.
Barring Liverpool themselves, right? Like Pep still seems to be struggling this season, so I'm not sure where he's going to take the team in the next 24, 26 matches that remain. So apart from that, everyone's just got flashes of brilliance, nothing else.
Absolutely. I mean, surprisingly, this year is actually such a transition time for so many clubs. So it makes even more of an advantageous situation for Liverpool to actually capitalize on this. And yeah, man. I mean, you said 3 or 4. I think there are a lot more. I think there are twice the numbers of first team players who are actually missing in action. And
Really?
even that is actually not. Kind of compromising their play right now, which is kind of scary. And just like briefly looking at their upcoming fixtures in the league itself, they play Brighton next, then they play Wolves, who are, I would say, struggling. Then they have Fulham following that, and then finally on 17th of December is a good game wherein they face Tottenham, but that too it's at home. Speaking of Tottenham, and your ex, our bitter rival. I actually managed to catch. I think, the majority of the game. I think I did. I was at dinner actually for the first half, but the second half I was actually able to catch in full, and it was kind of scary. Wherein there are flashes of the old Mourinho coming back. So, did you catch any of the highlights or the game itself?
I did. I caught some part of the game and then watched the highlights. But let me put this out there. Unlike most breakups, I don't harbor any ill feelings towards Mourinho. To be honest, I'm glad he's not at United. I don't think he was a good fit. And he seems to have found a club that works for his formula, right? He's got players who are working well together. He's got a group that is a little more cohesive than he's found at United in the past. And I think between Kane and Son and Delhi, like they've got a match winning, possibly league contending squad over there. And you're right, it was this game that sort of gave me thought that maybe Spurs can actually go up there and get to the second spot, if not compete for the first.
Right. Absolutely. It was. I mean, going into the game, I was kind of expecting City not to pull off a win, but the manner in which Spurs was actually able to brush aside City with relative ease, I would say, because City was dominant in spells, and then they had a lot of chances. They were playing some fluid football, but then at the end of the day, it's a scoreline that matters. I read a question posed at Jose for his, I think, pre-match for the Europa, wherein a journalist asked him, City had 90% of the possession. What do you make of that? And Jose replied, they can take the ball home. I took the 3 points. And I think that was the game. That was the game which actually embodied Mourinho's style. And I agree. What's scary is that he has players right now. I feel that there is not enough grit in the Tottenham side, but there still is unity and unison. They play like a unit, which is very important. And even if, for example, Kane or Son do get that once a season injury that they do, I think they still might be able to pull it off because Gareth Bale has barely featured for them. Like
Right.
even in this game, he was supposed to come on as a sub, but then Jose kind of stopped his warm up, and he put on a youngster. Um, just to put you on the spot, where do you think Spurs will finish in the season?
Um, that's an interesting one. Let's see. So I think I definitely think that they will be competing for the second or the third spot. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where they'll finish between the two. But if I had to take a pick, I'd go there. Like second or third is where they'd finish.
Right, right. Surprisingly, I think I would say the same. Based on current form of this team, of Spurs, and everyone else around them, I think I don't think it's going to go down to the wire, but I think Spurs will finish solid second or third. And coming to their opponents from the last game, Manchester City, you must absolutely be reveling in their absolute horror of a start to the season that they're having because they're just not able to string even two results together.
Right, right. So the one thing I've learned over the last 7 years or 6 years or whatever, 70 years that it's been since Sir Alex left is people with glass houses don't, or rather shouldn't throw stones at others.
Oh,
I'm gonna reserve the harsh judgments and the mockery till we're at a place where we can do that as United fans. Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to watch one arch nemesis being beaten down by another rival. And between Tottenham and City, yes, I'm definitely happy that City are the ones losing. Um, but honestly, it's down to Pep just having a bad phase. I think. Like I don't think this can be attributed to anything apart from they're just taking a break and saying, you know what, guys, let's just do whatever the hell you want to do. We'll pick it up in the second half of the league, and we're going to come back like nobody's business. And I'm a little scared to see what that looks like, and I would be delighted to see if that doesn't pan out, and if they keep going the way they are, end up below United, end up in the bottom half of the league, or so
I think I think as the season plays out, obviously the cream is going to rise to the top, and
right.
the table will start leveling. So we're not going to see the likes of Manchester City in the bottom half of the table for sure. But the question that I want to ask is, despite Pep, he recently signed a contract extension with City, ensuring that he will be with them till the end of the 2023 season.
Right.
Now, if a year later Pep actually becomes available, okay,
Oh, for sure, for sure.
yeah,
Like, yeah, yeah. I don't think you need to finish that sentence either. But for
right.
sure, I would welcome him to United with open arms. The way things stand as of now, I am not team Ole out. for sure. But at the same time, as I was telling a friend of mine when the Poch rumors were rife, is that while I'm not team Ole out, I'm not team Poch in. Right?
Right.
I see that Ole uh, is not the best manager to sit on that table of the big six, and there are better managers out there. Pep is hands down. He's proven himself. While I want to give Ole more time because of all that he's done for us over the years as a player, what he's done for us in the first 4 months that he came into the club and did as a manager, did a fairly decent job even last season. Like I know he's not had something to write home about, but yeah, I'm not team Ole out, but I would definitely be team Pep in.
100%. Because I think there are very few managers which are there in the A plus league. And Pep, despite all the criticism that he gets, I think he's still up there. And he's going to continue to be there because I think that's the kind of gap that he has built over times compared to his compatriots. And sure, he's going through a bit of a tough patch right now. But he's a serial winner and you can't really count him out. Moving on to the next game, Saturday evening we saw United West Brom, which saw quite a lot of drama actually. I called this scoreline right, and I knew it was going to be a 1-0 to United. But what do you make of it? Like, the way your side is playing right now, what is it that you see they're doing right, and what is it that you want them to change?
Honestly, the first thing that I want them to change is to stop treating Champions League and the Premier League as two distinctly different competitions, and especially because Ole keeps saying this, that they have such a packed schedule, they have back-to-back matches, and I'm sure that if there is some continuity in the team that he puts out there and in what he's actually feeling in terms of the formation and all of that, what we saw yesterday against Istanbul is a team that works wonderfully well. We had Cavani leading up the line and showing some maturity in the attack, which for all that Martial and Rashford have done for the club and have in store in the future, I don't think they have the seniority or they have the experience, frankly, to lead the line, so to speak, right? And the fact that now finally I actually am glad that whether it is because of injury or whether it is because of just teaching him a lesson or whatever it is, I honestly don't care why always keeping Pogba out. But I'm glad that he is, because when we have so much depth in the midfield, that's the one area that we aren't lacking in at all. And we have so much depth, and we have a player of the caliber of Van de Beek, and that's when you have to give him a chance. That's when you have to give him a start. You have to see what he can do. And people were saying that, and by people I mean like pundits and fans, and everyone was talking about how Bruno and Van de Beek can play in the same starting lineup. And yesterday was just the point proven that whether he's playing number 8 or number 10 doesn't matter, but he deserves to be a part of the team. And to circle back to the question that you asked, what I'd like them to see differently, what I'd like to see them do differently is definitely change up the same formation, the same lineup that has been going on with slight tinkering here and there in the league, in the Premier League, versus the Champions League, where he's taking risks. He's actually putting up different formations. He's trying out a little more of a bold approach, I would say, when it comes to the tactics, even not just the lineups.
Right. Interesting. We've actually, over the last 2.5 episodes, we've actually surprisingly given a lot of airtime to United. And somewhat, they are in a position wherein the talking points are always gonna be there. Do you think you guys need reinforcements in the winter transfer window?
For sure. I think our defense needs
Well, really, yeah.
defense. I think we're weak defensively. That's where Maguire's not really where we want him to be.
Hey, come on, Maguire is world class. He's 80 million centre back. You deserve him.
Right, right, yeah, right. So Lindelof is. I mean, I love it when he shows up, but like Martial, he has a tendency to somewhat disappear in some matches, and at the same time, he's not really. Well, he's injury prone, right? Even yesterday, his back wasn't 100% there. The 53, 57 minutes, I'm not sure how long he played exactly, but whatever he played for, he did a fantastic job. I have no complaints with regards to his performance yesterday in Champions League, but he had to be pulled off because he's not 100% match fit. We have a great option for centre back in Twanzebe, but again, injury prone and has not been match fit for I would say 8-10 games in a row since he's joined. I don't remember a stretch where he's been available for being picked in the team 10 games in a row since he's come in, and we have Telles who's showing promise. We have Luke Shaw who is probably the most consistent and reliable performer in our back four, but at the same time, that speaks a lot for the quality of our back four right now. And we have Van Bissaka, who's developing well. He's making more aggressive runs. He's been, I think we've had this conversation where I've been a fan of his since he's come in with regards to his defensive abilities. But on like going forward as a wing back, he's not offered much, but I think that's one of the promising signs why I also believe Ole might have more to offer than meets the eye, because players are developing under him, maybe a little slower than we would like, but Van Bissaka is actually moving forward. Like I've seen that in the last 4 games or 5 games where he's a lot more confident running up the pitch, being available as an option to be fed the ball. That's I think something that the defense is where we really need reinforcements.
Interesting. So do you think the club is actually going to go for players in the winter transfer window?
That's the multi-million-dollar question, isn't it? So I think we've got Opamaneko. I'm not sure what his Upamecano, right? Yeah, we've got Upamecano on the radar, and seems like if the rumor mills are true, seems like we're in the running for a winter transfer. But honestly, I don't have much hopes. Like my hopes have been dashed with regards to the transfer windows repeatedly. Deals that seem like done deals, and the obvious choices haven't been made in the last, I don't know how many, 7 transfer windows or 8, and yeah, I have no hopes from Ed Woodward. Not till we have a functioning director of football, or Woodward is actually out. Do I think that I'll actually have real hopes from a transfer window for us?
So
we might actually have a deadline day signing of another midfielder, an attacking midfielder as another option, but I don't know.
Right, I wouldn't mind United signing one and loaning it to Arsenal. So speaking about United's perennial ups and downs, where do you see United finishing at this point?
I think I think we're definitely heading for a top 6 finish. I'm being a little optimistic here, maybe, but I think a top 6 finish isn't being too hopeful. I think we can get there, but I would like to see us in the top 4. But that's going to depend on how we get the next few games if we can stretch this current run of, I think we've had 3 games on the trot, including our Champions League performance. If we can get that extended, then we might actually build some momentum that we can work on, and we might even go for a top 4. But otherwise, I think a top 6 is where I see us landing up.
And considering that Liverpool, I think according to you two, will win the league, and you said Spurs and City, if I'm not mistaken, to finish second and third, either
Yeah,
in either of the two orders.
yeah.
So 4, 5, 6. Who would you put 4, 5, 6?
So I'm actually excited about watching how Chelsea develops. Right, they've got a young team. They've got a manager who, while he was playing as a player, I hated with a passion because he was so good.
Right.
But uh, he's got something which basically nobody really knows. I don't think even he knows what he's got in the kitty. So if he fires as a manager and is not fired as a manager, then they might actually just make it to the top 4. Um, Apart from Chelsea making it to the top 4, my dark horses here would be Aston Villa.
Whoa. Okay.
Who, as a just purely as a team, I have loved watching their matches. I've watched I think 3 of their matches this season, and I went into the match thinking that I'm going to watch maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then just going to move on with my life. But ended up watching close to a half or more, and they're playing interesting football. And the other team, which I would like to come back up but not overtake us on the table, is Leeds. Like, I'm
Leeds, huh?
excited for,
Wow.
yeah, I'm excited for the team that they have, but also for rekindling probably the oldest rivalry in the Premier League, United versus Leeds, right? So, um, yeah.
Interesting. Well, Southampton is right up there, and it is Manchester United's next fixture. And just looking at United's next few fixtures, you have Southampton, West Ham, City, Sheffield, and Leeds. Then you have Leicester and Wolves rounding up the year. So 7 fixtures till the 28th of December. Pretty tough, challenging fixtures. Anyway, this year there are no easy games, more than
Right.
ever. I know it's a cliche that Premier League broadcasters have actually been trying to make us believe, but this year genuinely it feels like that. Wherein even a Brighton actually came so close to defeating United, but um, Fulham right now, Fulham, West Brom, and Sheffield, you might say, are the kind of walkovers. Speaking of no easy games, Arsenal faced Leeds at Ellen Road, and that was a bit of a torturous game to watch. And going into the game, my realistic prediction was actually a 0-0 draw, but optimistically, I stuck my neck out and I said that we would win 1-0. And just the way this game panned out was very interesting because a lot of talking points have come up from this. One is that Aubameyang was playing largely from the left, but this time round he was playing right through the center. Pepe started, but not over Willian. I mean, even Willian started along with Pepe. In the middle of the park, you didn't have Partey or Elneny. So instead, what you had was a trio of Xhaka, Ceballos, and Joe Willock. Joe Willock was kind of absent from the game. And come the second half, of course, that red card incident took place. Now,
Right.
Pepe, he must have been, what do you say? I think he was provoked in some form or the other. But for him to act like this, so basically, Pepe's situation, I'll tell you, is that as Arsenal fans, to outsiders, to other fans of other clubs, Arsenal fans have always been very defensive about Pepe, wherein we are trying to kind of back him into it. And one of the reasons apart from the price tag, is that sure he does have those flashes of brilliance. He has a very good left foot. I think he hit the post also in this game. But the point is that for this kind of a player, you need to have some form of elongated run in the first team, which he wasn't getting. And then now, when he actually did get a chance, he goes on and he does that stupid thing. And fair play to the Leeds player as well. I don't know if it actually was Ilowski or not, but what was interesting is that actually Marcelo Bielsa managed or coached Pepe in France in Lille. So Bielsa, once upon a time, not in the far history, was actually called to lead Lille. And before the season started, what he did was he kind of let 3 to 4 senior players go, and he brought in 4 or 5 youngsters. One of them was Nicolas Pepe, but for some reason, some story which we are not too privy to, apparently the two of them didn't really get along well. So there could be a scene wherein the manager knew that this player, he has a very high self-worth, he has a very high ego. You can actually get on the wrong side of him, and there were these little battles which were going on in the game, eventually, which led to the incident. And the Leeds player made the most of it, so much so that actually the referee had to stop play, and the fourth official, or the third umpire, effectively was actually called in. And the third umpire has been the talk of football for the last 2 years. And the point out of all of this is that one is, when a player is given a chance, you hate for him, you hate him to give away that opportunity, right?
Right.
And the second is that there is so much of non-footballing related incidents which are happening in football nowadays, which are actually not just influencing, but actually directly affecting the final outcome of the game. It's incredible. And finally, just to wrap this performance up, it's not that Arsenal was actually walking over Leeds. On the other hand, if actually as a neutral, if you were to start watching this game, then it would be like a slow burn TV show that you would watch. But then as the game would go on, you would start slowly and steadily, you would start getting into it, because you could see that the Leeds team is not slightly, a lot better drilled as a footballing unit than the Arsenal side. They have a very strong left side, Leeds United, and that's what they were targeting. And for some reason, Arsenal was not able to plug that, and that is where people like Thomas Partey are absolutely crucial for us. There was an incident in the first half as well, wherein Hector Bellerin, after a Leeds attack, went out for a corner, no less, not a goal kick. He was actually mad at Pepe. And this kind of leadership is actually well appreciated from the Arsenal ranks. But at the end of the day, I think we got lucky, definitely, to come away with a point. We kind of still have one of the best defensive records in the league, but that won't amount to much if we are not able to score, which is our Achilles heel.
Right.
So after my TED talk on the Arsenal game, what do you make of Arsenal's current form, and are you still enjoying it, or are you well past enjoying Arsenal's misery?
Well, there's a part of me that will never tire of enjoying Arsenal's misery.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thanks. Okay. Right.
But as I said earlier, I think actually this happened to me about 2 years ago, when I was 2-3 years ago, when I was really fed up with Mourinho's shortcomings and all of that, is when I really started appreciating football for what football is, beyond just club loyalty, right? And having said that, I can appreciate where Arsenal is right now and feel for you guys as well, because I think honestly you guys are in practically the same boat, rowing right next to us, in chains, unable to control your own destiny, and not sure where you're going to land up, which shore the captain's going to take you to. And that's a bad place to be in. So as fans, I feel for you, because identical situation. You laugh at us after our games, we laugh at you after your games, and that's practically the give and take that happens. But beyond that, I think there is hope in terms of players for you guys, and you have an identical situation with the manager going on, right? Like you have a young manager, unproven metal, may or may not work out to be something, has shown that he can actually do something for you guys. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed watching that red card. I won't deny it.
Hmm.
It was because honestly, Pepe is one of those guys who was built for non-Arsenal fans to hate. If you
Hmm.
get what I'm saying, right? Like he,
Absolutely.
he was rather he was built for non-Arsenal fans to hate, because when he came in, Arsenal fans were painting the town red with "Oh, we've got Pepe, you've got nothing," and even to the likes of Liverpool and City, like it didn't matter. Reality didn't
Right.
matter to Arsenal fans at that point,
Right.
and so. But then again, yeah, like I don't know. Like don't really have much to say on the on the Pepe situation.
So coming back to our predictions for the end of the year, where do you see Arsenal finishing in the league?
I think if they manage to pull their shit together, they will finish in the top six, maybe.
Hmm. Do you
Um,
think they'll finish above United? Because you've put United and Arsenal both in the top six.
as I said, I think it's the exact same boat. It might be one of those things where it's a fraction of a difference. We might even go down to goal difference in terms of who finishes over the other.
Right.
I genuinely think it's that close, and it's that bad for both teams
Hmm.
that we can't really separate the wheat from the chaff in this. Uh, but yeah, I think if you guys don't pull your shit together, you're not even finishing top six. If you do top six, if you really manage to pull the rabbit out of the hat, then yeah, then maybe top four, in the fourth spot, just about there. Uh, Maybe, like if you're lucky, and the same thing goes for United, right? So
Right. I had actually made a video about predicting the 2020-21 season, and looking at the way the season is progressing, most of those predictions are obviously not going to turn out to be true. I had put Arsenal not comfortably, not comfortably, just to make it clear. Yeah, but I had put Arsenal in the top four, which I think right now is definitely not going to happen. Because my top four, just to give you a hint, looks like Liverpool, Spurs, City, and Chelsea. Below that, I think one team that you have conveniently forgotten is a team which kind of imploded at the end of last year. And they have a great manager, they have a great team, and they're going to learn from that lesson. And that team is Leicester. For me, Leicester is going to finish just outside the top four. And below them is going to be that Arsenal, United, Everton, and the fourth team could be Southampton, could be Everton, could be Wolves, whichever team, could be Leeds, whichever team
right.
actually comes up out of it.
Do you
Thus,
think because this is the second time Southampton's come up, but do you think Southampton really has the legs to uh, actually last till the end of the season, where
um,
they are right now?
I actually managed to catch the Southampton Wolves game because looking at the table, it was a very crucial tie. And Southampton looks like a well drilled team, but kind of the teams of yore, wherein like Arsenal had this criticism. Like as an Arsenal fan, I could see it, whether it was a criticism or just an observation that when Arteta came in, we had the legs to basically play for 60 minutes, 70 minutes. But in the last 20, right, that is where we would fall short. And that is very similar. Southampton is exactly that side. I saw them play. I saw them score the first one. I saw them miss a golden opportunity to finish the game and make it 2-0. And then, as soon as they miss that opportunity, what it does is it gives the other sides, and other sides, like even Crystal Palace, for example, right? They are a team which has played like a unit for a few years now. They're not a new side like a Chelsea or a Manchester City, but Chelsea and Manchester City have the pedigree of top quality players and a top quality manager. Here, they
Right.
don't have that. So I think these teams do fall short. So I don't know if Southampton is going to actually pull it through till the end. But they had a very strong finish last season as well. Remember, they were spanked for 9 by Leicester at the
Yeah.
beginning of last season.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they kind of turned that around and rather imperiously because they have a very good manager. I call him the Walmart Jurgen Klopp, just because the way he looks and acts. And they finished 11th. I mean, at the end of last season, which is just basically 2 points away from a ninth position. That's how close the league is going to be. But I think Southampton might fall short because they kind of have that model as well. And ironically, I feel Southampton is the Dortmund, like a very B Dortmund of English football, wherein they have this crop of youngsters. They have very similar players who come in. They actually flip those players. They'll bring in a young player. Eventually, like in Dortmund, the player goes to Bayern Munich. With Southampton, mostly it was that he would go to Liverpool, but now it could be, a lot of teams come in. So yeah, I think Southampton, maybe they might fall away, drift away come the end of the season. Speaking about the last game of our featured games, Newcastle versus Chelsea, it was the first game of this game week. I was actually pretty excited for it purely because Premier League action was back, and I think I had called a 2-1 win to Chelsea this time round. They won 2-0. And pretty similar situation to Southampton is Newcastle. It's only that Newcastle is slightly worse off than Southampton. Wherein these sides, if they don't score, right, I would say even a side like United and Arsenal are confident enough right now to make them pay for those mistakes. And that's exactly what happened in the Chelsea and Newcastle game as well. And coming back to your point about Chelsea that you spoke of earlier in the episode, Chelsea is looking like a very exciting side, to be honest. And
Right.
it has taken them some time to basically, for all the gears to basically come in, for everything to click together. But now it seems like you can see those flashes of brilliance that extremely talented pool of players that they have, they can actually provide. And but I'm not scared of Chelsea. Wherein I'm not scared of Chelsea actually running away and winning the league because I think they are minimum a season away from it. I would say they're also a manager away from it. It's a very crucial year for Frank Lampard. I said it right at the beginning of the season in the prediction video as well that my wild card for a managerial sack is actually Frank Lampard, and it's rather
Right.
surprising that no manager has been sacked thus far in the league. But if Frank Lampard does not actually does wonders with this side, then I think he will be out, and that might not necessarily be the best thing for us because then what's going to happen is effectively Chelsea is going to be done with their version of an Ole or an Arteta, right? Then they're going to go out in the market and they're going to try and bring in at least some form of a proven, experienced manager. It could be a Brendan Rodgers, it could be a Pochettino. Worse yet, it could be an Allegri. The
Right.
managerial market as well is kind of flush with extremely good managers. Thomas Tuchel at PSG right now, I think and I hope he's going to be sacked. He might again be in the market. So that's the situation that we find ourselves with in Chelsea. What are your thoughts with Chelsea and where do you see them finishing at the end of the season?
Um, I think with Chelsea, like I'll cover the easy part first. The finish at the end of the season, I think they're either going to be fourth or just pipped for the fourth spot by a good finish by a United or an Arsenal or, as you rightly said, Leicester.
Hmm.
But I definitely see them more in the top four than these other sides, and. With regards to how they're going to come together and what I think of them, I think it's just it's not very often that you see this, right? Chelsea's gone out and bought what 5-6 players that they are actually regularly playing in their starting 11, and it's a young crop of players who don't know each other well enough, who don't have that chemistry on field, are developing it off field, or maybe already have. I don't know, but all of that really matters, and it takes time, I believe. I think that's the big challenge that Chelsea has right now. That how does a young manager get a team full of youngsters and the whole bunch who haven't really done much together come under a philosophy or a management style, or like a larger goal, like a larger format to get to the goal. Like the goal is obviously to get to the top, but what is that formula that comes through is I don't know. It's exciting. I like the uncertainty. I like that there is so much uncertainty. There is an equal chance that Timo Werner and Ziyech end up being one season wonders, and like by the end of the next season, we're all like, okay, we had really high hopes of these guys, and they proved to be nothings. So it's fun to see another team go through this. I'd hate to be Chelsea if that was to happen. But yeah, I think in all real expectations from the club, I think they're going to do well. I think there are a bunch of really talented youngsters that have been brought together.
Right.
They are clearly coming together into a form that seems like you might have to be scared of them next season. You're right. I'm not very scared of them being a potent threat this season. But at the same time, they might just well have a good spell of 6-8 games where they go undefeated in the season. I think that's very much within the realms of possibility.
You're right. Absolutely. So your table looks something like this. You have Liverpool first, Spurs or City second and third. I'm putting Chelsea as fourth, Arsenal and or United fifth and or sixth. Below that surprise package, should we put Leeds as seventh for you? Or you want to go with someone? You have not mentioned Leicester yet.
I think you're right. I did forget about Leicester. So I would actually put Leicester in the same bracket as United and Arsenal. I think those three will be fighting for the fifth and sixth spot. And whoever doesn't make the top six will be fighting with Leeds and Aston Villa and Wolves. Like that.
Wow.
That covers my top 10. Like I really don't see Southampton lasting the whole season in the top 10.
What about Everton? You haven't featured Everton at all.
To be honest, I haven't watched Everton. I have only rejoiced when Everton has not performed well in the recent.
Why so?
Because at some stage it seemed like they were a threat where United would also have to outperform our current average to even try and catch up to them. So it's right now it's as much a game for me as a United fan to watch the next 5 or 6 spots in the table perform poorly as it is to watch United perform well. So that's sad. It's really a sad state of affairs that it's that's where we are at. but I think that's where we are at.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Cool. Next up is we have Premier League football on the weekend again. I believe you caught United in action in Champions League last night.
Yeah.
How was that performance? I saw the highlights, and anytime a team bangs in 4 goals, it has to be a great performance, especially at a time when a side like United is struggling. And what was ironical is that I was actually banking on Cavani to start the last 2 games in the league as well. And surprise, surprise, I mean, he starts, even though I don't think he scored, but nonetheless, it was a win. And this is the 11 that is going to be attributed with this 4-1, right, against
Yeah,
Istanbul.
4-1.
So how was that game?
It was fantastic. Honestly, I missed the first goal. It was 7 minutes.
Which is the best one, I think. Which was the best.
Yeah, which was definitely the best one. I mean, I was out of the room for I think 3 or 4 minutes, and I came back in just because of the notification on my phone that there was a goal, and I had to watch it as a replay. But it was a fantastic goal. I think the first half, without doubt, has been one of the best halves that we've played this entire season across Champions League and
Right.
Premier League. We've had uh, Cavani, Van de Beek, and Telles. I think that was the highlight for me. That three players that I have been personally hoping to see in the starting 11 as a unit. In the sense that I don't think any of these three deserves not to be there. I know Telles has had a bad run of just luck, like with his testing negative. I mean, testing positive for corona in between, and that uncertainty, and then his injury and his whatever. Like he's had reasons to not be in the team. It's not that he's been dropped from the team, but Van de Beek has had a bad. I don't know, bad Pogba side effect, and Cavani just like honestly, I have always liked Cavani, especially since the last World Cup, and I think a little before that. Like he's been the beast, and I've wondered what he can bring to the United side. But last night was amazing to watch him just do those small things where he's like dummies that allowed a Martial or a Greenwood in the second half to get the ball and basically get behind the defense. Sadly, Greenwood, I think on a couple of occasions was a little too selfish. Fair enough. I mean, he deserves to take his shots when he gets them. But Cavani actually brought some stability to the side, which I think has been lacking in our attacking third, despite Bruno coming in.
Right. Interesting. Um, I was actually looking at the table and the Champions League tables, and there is a small chance of a few big teams being kicked out. If a team does get kicked out and they're third in the Champions League group, then they get demoted or sent to Europa League. A team being sent to Europa League gives them an opportunity to actually go ahead and win that competition. Not only win that competition, but also then qualify for next season's Champions League.
Right.
So, I don't know if you know where I'm going or not, but United progressing to the knockout stages, will that be in United's favor in the long run as the season goes on?
See, I'll be honest. I don't want the easy way out, and by easy way out, I mean like just getting knocked out of Champions League and through the Europa League route, coming in back to Champions League next season. As much as I really want to see United stay in Champions League for next season and the season after that, and then like maybe the season after that go and win it. As much as I want that to happen. I don't want that backdoor entry to be the route that we take.
Right.
I'd love to discuss that if and when that happens. But right now, I want 6 points from the next two matches. I think we've beaten PSG and Leipzig in our previous two encounters, and I think we can do it again. We might not be able to beat one of them, but all we need is a draw with one, and we're through, right? So I'm not really banking on losing both matches and then getting kicked out of the table and then winning Europa again and then coming back. I mean, yeah, but that's not where I'm going with this season.
So then, do you put any chance on Manchester United winning the Champions League this season?
No. Not really.
I'm glad you were that swift with your response.
I mean, I think the one thing that I take pride in is that I'm not delusional about my support for United. I don't believe we are there, and unless the season is hit by something as improbable as well, this year itself, like Corona and everything that's happened since then. But unless it's hit by something like that, I don't believe we are anywhere close to winning. I would be ecstatic if we even came runners up in Champions League.
So you're not going to win Champions League. You're not going to finish in top four, which means that you are prepared for a Champions League less season next year.
Sadly, I mean, when you put it like that, yes, I suppose I have to be. But yeah, we'll see you in Europa.
Because to be honest, personally speaking, for my club, I know that it's looking extremely difficult for us to finish in the top four. It's not impossible, especially this year when the table is so tight. I mean, even the distance to the first is not much. Wherein, for example, Manchester United is 13 with a game in hand. Spurs and Liverpool are on 20. United wins that game in hand, hypothetical. But if
Right.
they do, then they're 4 points behind. Likewise, from the fourth spot, if they do win the game in hand, then they're 2 points behind. If not, they're still 5 points behind, which is the same with Arsenal and a point here or there for City as well. So keeping all of these things into consideration, despite all of this, I feel that top four is going to be very difficult for teams like Manchester United and Arsenal. And that's why I feel, for me, I would be extremely, extremely ecstatic if Arsenal were to go ahead, win the Europa League, and that way they get into Champions League next season. Because just to drift away from this topic a bit, now because of COVID, what's happening is a lot of these clubs are actually losing a lot of time, a lot of money. And Tottenham recently came out with their annual report, and they reported losses to the tune of 60 mil, I think. And Daniel Levy said that if no fans are allowed, which by the way, like a few fans might be allowed up to 4,000 in some areas in
Yeah.
India. Yeah. But if no fans are allowed, then they are looking at losses to the tune of 150 million. And surprise, surprise, Tottenham built a new stadium, and that is a loss that they can't actually take on at this moment. And that is going to be a huge loss. And so, keeping all of this into consideration, Champions League football actually provides a lot more than the glitz and glamour. It provides a lot more,
Financial security to the club, right?
absolutely, yeah. It's more than just a selling point for a potential transfer target as well. That yes, we are giving you Champions League football. That's why the transfer dealings that Arsenal have actually made this year impress me to no end, if I'm using that correctly, because the players that came in, they were being chased by other clubs who were in Champions League, but they decided to come to Arsenal, right? It's a phrase which is used a lot, but like they believe in the project that Arsenal is currently undergoing right now. And sure, looking at it from a micro perspective, things are extremely bad at Arsenal, but we all know that title winning sides are built on their defense, and our defense is one of the best. Just look at the Leeds highlights and you'll see. Sure, we got lucky, I think thrice, but nonetheless, there was. This team, I'm sorry to say, but this team, even under Wenger during his last few years, would have actually given away a couple of goals minimum. So, keeping everything into consideration, I think Champions League football is extremely crucial.
Mm-hmm.
It attracts, the players that your club wants. It keeps your books slightly healthy. It is enough motivation for the players already there. So that is where it's going to be extremely, extremely interesting. And that is where I think Manchester United might might lose out on, because you still have teams like Arsenal and Leicester and Spurs in Europa. So their chances of winning Europa and qualifying for Champions League is higher than Manchester United actually winning the Champions League and staying in the Champions League. The
Right.
chances of these four teams, barring Spurs, are just about neck and neck with regards to getting into the top four. And it's extremely tight because we both know that Manchester City is not going to stay at the bottom, in the bottom half of the table for long. Come the end of the year, turn of the year, you're going to see them in the top six, top five for sure, right?
Right.
So,
But that
I
that
mean,
actually, I mean, like I don't refute your points at all. Completely agree. Even with specifically the last point about City using the end of the year momentum to catapult themselves back to the top of the table somewhere. I mean, the top quarter of the table at least. But that's something that I am also sort of relying on and banking on as a United fan. There is that glimmer of hope. We have historically performed very well in the winter session of the league, where the Boxing Day matches and the next couple of weeks and more, we generally tend to see an uptick in our performance and in our league standings. And if we are able to get to, I don't know, even seventh or sixth before Boxing Day, I think then we stand a real chance of then saying, you know what, let's ride our luck, let's ride the best performances of our lives to get to the top four. In that
right.
case, it can happen. If we are still languishing in the ninth and the 10th and the 11th and in that spot, I don't see it realistically going anywhere. So that's that one last ray of hope that I have as a United supporter, as that we might actually make history work in our favor.
It's surprising how optimistic fools we continue to be, despite knowing how history has panned out for us. What all it takes is one season for it to turn around. Any parting thoughts on the current state of football, or anything else that comes to your mind worthy of speaking?
Well, I think if I might use this platform, hashtag Glazers out. Like, need to get those guys out of there.
What's what's interesting? Sorry, but what's interesting is that actually today I was working on a video. Hopefully, it'll be out tomorrow, and um, that led me down a rabbit hole wherein I was actually reading about Glazers' takeover of United, and it doesn't paint a pretty picture from the start, actually, wherein the amount of debt, for example, they didn't finance it themselves, right? Usually expect a new owner to come in, he puts in his own moolah on the table more often than not.
Right.
But here that didn't happen. Manchester United is not one of those other clubs where you can pick up for maybe 60, 70 mil, or even 200 million for that matter, right? All in all, I think by the end of it, it came to around 800 million pounds. So effectively, there is a debt, or there was a debt of close to 800, not close to 800, but somewhere close to that on Manchester United. And then over the years, they have paid off. But I still heard on a podcast not too long ago that there is that small chance that if maybe five things go against United, then because of their financial condition, so to say, the future might look very bleak. Because one thing to keep in mind is that the brand that Manchester United has built over time, because of Sir Alex and the teams that he has had, is still right up there with the Madrids and the Barças right now. However, in the recent past, because of lack of success, there have been no new conversions as such for new
Right.
fans. So the new kids who are coming up, right, they see Manchester United as a mid-table side.
Right.
So the revenue which is coming from non-footballing avenues is actually it's kind of dwindling right now. Like right now, even having a player like Pogba is not going to sell a lot of jerseys next year as well, for example, if he continues to
Correct.
stay, right? And possibly if Jadon Sancho comes in, then well and good. But then do the kids know about Jadon Sancho? Probably not. So then again, you're looking at the big name signings that other teams, even a team like Chelsea, is basically able to bring in. They have a Pulisic, he's going to sell shirts in America. They have a Hakim Ziyech, he's going to sell shirts in North Africa, right? You have these other players who are coming in. But then is a Cavani jersey really gonna Manu Cavani jersey really gonna sell a lot in Uruguay? Is I think where he's from. Probably not, because those Cavani fans are set Cavani fans. He's come to
Right,
the
right. I,
so
I,
the
I think that's sorry, but
the
just to
Glazers
jump on,
out, the Glazers out situation. Yeah,
yeah, but just to jump on that specific point about how the club's being managed at this stage is it's basically exactly that, right? Like Ed Woodward's going out there and looking in every transfer window to go like, okay, which market can I tap into next? This last window, he looked at Cavani and he's like, okay, that gets me Uruguay, and maybe that's where I can build the future. And the previous window, he looked at Ighalo to build Nigeria and bits of Africa. And that's essentially what Woodward's job is. And he's keeping a massive ship afloat by patch fixing leaks here and there, right? He's not undergoing structural repairs. He's not looking at who can come in, who's an expert to really look at it in the long run. And that's where I believe the Glazers and Woodward combo is really going to be hugely detrimental for us in the long run if by some stroke of luck we do not avoid that inevitability.
I feel. I mean, every club does that. What you spoke about Nigeria and Uruguay, those markets, tapping into those markets. But what has to be looked at is basically, are those players really worthy, wherein they're going to make an impact in those markets? For example, not to blow my own horn, but like Arsenal got Thomas Partey, who is one of the biggest players in Ghana. So there you automatically know that there is going to be some form of penetration for the club over there. Then you maybe look at Senegal with Mane, Egypt with Salah, right? So these territories are going to go in. You have maybe a Minamino. Apparently, some of the non-Liverpool fans say that he was bought for this specific reason, wherein Liverpool wanted Japan, like they wanted to get into Japan
Right.
via a player. But if Ed Woodward and the Glazers are looking at players like Igalo and Cavani to necessarily do that, then probably that is not the best way for them to even approach that.
Exactly. So essentially, what you're saying is they're failing at even the game that they think they are good at, right? Like,
Right.
which is getting the right kind of players and tapping into new markets and building a future. And like, honestly, this is like, I fear that there might be Leeds like decline that United might go down if we don't take serious corrective measures now, right?
Right.
And once you go down that path, then it's not a matter of a season or two to rebuild and come back up. It's basically going to be a generation before you're back to the top.
Correct. Correct.
So
Yeah, that's tough. All right. I think that's all the time that we have for you today. Any parting words? How was your experience on this podcast? And would you like to be a guest on any other episode in the future?
sure, I mean, I would love to come back and have join your rotating panel of experts, and yeah, it was a fun experience. I think we do this offline once in a while, but why not do it for the world? Right.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to next round of fixtures. Are you?
Yes, yes. I think you touched upon this a little while back, but till the end of the year, like the next 5 or 6 weeks, United's got a good bunch of matches coming up, especially in the league. We don't really have anyone. I don't think we're playing anyone who's currently sitting below us. Uh, Ironically, I think we have City that we play, who's sitting
Hmm.
below us. But beyond them, I think every team that we're playing is sitting above us. Southampton, then West Ham. I'm not sure where West Ham is placed in the table. Um, and then we
They're
have,
all there and thereabouts, except for
yeah,
the bottom three teams. Everyone's within reaching distance.
correct, correct. So really exciting stuff coming up, and beyond that, we also have what will determine our Champions League fate via PSG and Leipzig.
Absolutely, absolutely. Interesting. December's gonna be mayhem, effectively,
Yeah, yeah.
for the world of football, like English league as well. Okay, final question. Injuries are bound to occur. Okay, name two players because I know one. Name two players. If they get injured, Manu's season is not at risk, but it's completely off.
The one that you know of, and I think everyone is fearing is Bruno. I think once he's down, we go from a mid-table team to a team that is aspiring to be a mid-table team. Uh, so
Nice.
that's not going to play out well for us. Apart from him, I would. I think it's hard to pick the second player because we have like our defense is not strong enough to rely on one player, and we have enough options in midfield that even if one of the others is injured and out of commission for say 3 months, we can easily survive. Our offense, I think Rashford really is that one other player that we're going to miss sorely and will make a huge difference. But given that Cavani could step in and Greenwood, honestly, I place more faith in Cavani and Greenwood at this stage than I do with Martial. If I had to have one of these three to be injured, I would probably say Martial, not Cavani or Greenwood. Definitely not Rashford. So yeah, I think the second player to impact United the worst would be Rashford if he got injured.
Hmm. Interesting. All right. Thank you, Mr. Yusuf Dadarkar. If anyone ends up watching this episode till the end, or if they're watching live, and if they want to follow you on any other social media, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on Twitter as Fool of a Suf.
What?
Fool of a Suf. It's a reference to Tolkien and Fool of a Took
Okay.
from Lord of the Rings. It's just been my handle since I first
Lord, oh Lord.
discovered.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Big time, big time. Uh, but yeah, that's me on Twitter. I'm pretty dormant, so you'd just be following an account that is a lurker everywhere. But yeah, maybe if I see some activity there, I might become active again.
All right. Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Yusuf. Thanks a lot for coming on the show. And I'm sure I'm going to see you soon. We are going to see you soon on this platform.
All right. Okay. It was a pleasure being on here, and look forward to it.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for watching. That was episode 3 of this yet to be titled podcast, or the football podcast, as we might be going ahead with. You can follow me on Mr. Dadarkar, MRDDRKR, on Twitter, and I Instagram. I Instagram. Ooh. Anyway, we have other videos as well that we've prepared on the topic of Arsenal. We have more videos coming up, which covers managers, players, kits, money in the world of football. And if you would like to participate and be a guest on this podcast, then please follow me on Twitter and hit me up over there. Or if you're not on Twitter, then hit me up on Instagram.